GISP Unofficial Study Guide, Section 10, Professional Practice. Section 1001, Understanding of Appropriate Interpretation of Work-Related Policies and Procedures. Each company has different policies and procedures for editing, storing, and archiving data, and those policies should be understood and followed. Section 1002, Understanding of Ethics Related to Technical GIS Work. There are four primary categories of ethics: obligations to society, obligations to employers and funders, obligations to colleagues and the profession, obligations to individuals in society. The GISCI's Code of Ethics. Rules of Conduct for Certified GIS Professionals. The Code of Ethics presents a set of objectives toward which we, as professionals, must continually strive. The Rules of Conduct is a set of implementing laws of professional practice that seek to express the primary examples of ethical behavior consistent with the Code of Ethics. Both the Code and the rules govern ethical professional practice standards, and violations of each may be brought before the GISCI as an ethics issue. The GIS professional should not interpret the lack of a specific context or act from the rules of conduct as permission to behave in any particular manner. For example, part of the Code of Ethics is the need to deliver an hour's work for an hour's pay. This is not simply a mandate for the office. It also means that you cannot ethically go to a conference and claim education points for the period of time when you are not actually participating in conference activities. The Code and rules represent a way of living a professional life, not simply how you are to behave at work. Achieving the GISP certification is an initial hurdle to jump in order to be recognized as a professional. Living the ethical life of a professional is a never-ending test that will present numerous challenges for which the Code and rules offer a guide to decision-making. The rules of conduct have been arranged under the headings used in the Code of Ethics as a means of indicating a primary association. The intent is to aid the user in identifying those rules that may be most applicable in a given context. Many rules, however, may be applicable in a variety of settings and situations beyond those with which they have a primary association. Any rule may ultimately be useful in resolving a specific question of ethical conduct. Rules. Section 1. Obligations to Society. Rule 1. GIS products and services should benefit society and enhance the well-being of individuals and groups within the constraints of existing law. Some applications of GIS products and services may harm individuals, directly or indirectly, while advancing government policies that some citizens regard as morally questionable. GIS professionals' participation in such applications is a matter of individual conscience. 2. We shall not intentionally alter data or outputs where the practice does not conform to standard analysis procedures. We shall not engage in conduct involving fraud or wanton disregard of the rights of others. We shall hold paramount the safety, health, and welfare of the public. We shall not knowingly perpetuate bad or outdated data. We shall include all disclaimers, where applicable, about the current condition of the data at the time of creation and/or the original intent of the data. 6. We shall not accept an assignment from a client or employer when the services to be performed involve conduct that is known to be illegal or in violation of the GISC rules of conduct. 7. When it is evident to a GIS professional that another GIS professional or practitioner is operating in violation of this code, the GIS professional shall discuss ethical GIS work practices with the other person. 8. Having substantial information which leads to a reasonable belief that a GIS professional has committed a violation of this code, which raises a serious question as to that professional's honesty, trustworthiness, or fitness as a GIS professional, and having exhausted all efforts to counsel or mentor that GIS professional, we shall file a formal complaint with the GISCI Ethics Committee following established procedures. 9. We shall not use the threat of filing an ethics charge in order to gain or attempt to gain an advantage in dealings with another GIS professional. 10. We shall not knowingly violate the law in the conduct of our professional duties. Furthermore, we shall take into account applicable laws and regulations and may rely on the advice of another qualified persons as to the intent and meaning of such regulations. 11. We shall acknowledge our errors and shall not distort or alter the facts. 12. We, speaking in our professional capacity, shall not knowingly make false statements of material fact, nor shall we omit material facts. 13. We shall not knowingly withhold cooperation or information from the ethics officer or the ethics committee if a charge of ethical misconduct has been filed, reserving the right to avoid self-incrimination. Rules of Conduct for Certified GIS Professionals, Section 2. Obligations to Employers and Funders. 1. All data shall have an appropriate metadata documentation sufficient to meet the minimum standard as stated here. All data to be published for general public consumption shall note 1. Sources of data, or at least from whom you obtained the data. 2. The dates of collection or aggregation of data, or at least the date you obtained the data. 3. Projection. And 4. Author or compiler's contact information or other contact information. 2. We shall not discriminate in our professional activities on the basis of race, religion, gender, national origin, age, disability, or sexual orientation. 3. We shall not sell nor offer to sell services by stating or implying an ability to influence decisions by improper means. 4. We shall disclose all known conflicts of interest that could influence or appear to influence our judgment or the quality of our services. 5. We shall not solicit nor accept financial or other valuable consideration, directly or indirectly, when to do so creates or appears to create a conflict of interest with the original work for which we are responsible. 6. We shall not counsel nor assist a client or employer in conduct that we know, or reasonably should know, is fraudulent, illegal, or unethical. If a client or employer does suggest or disclose such conduct, we shall advise the client or employer of the aspects of the proposal that are fraudulent, illegal, or unethical. 7. We shall not use equipment, supplies, laboratory, or office facilities of an employer to carry on outside private practice without explicit employer consent. 8. We shall describe our products and services fully, accurately, and truthfully. We shall honestly describe the capabilities of products, systems, or services with which we are concerned, and shall not take advantage of the lack of knowledge or inexperience of potential clients or employers. 9. When notified of an error in the database, the professional will take action to correct it. 10. We shall undertake to perform professional services only when we are qualified by education, training, or experience in the specific technical areas involved. Collaboration with other qualified professionals shall be undertaken if deficiencies are identified. 11. We shall not misstate, verbally or in writing, our educational experience, training, or any other facts with which are relevant to our professional qualifications. 12. We shall adequately document all programs written and or edited as part of our work product for the benefit of subsequent users or editors, such that our work may be followed and replicated. 13. Where documented limitations exist, we shall not accept gifts, loans, services, or hospitality from any current or potential suppliers of services above and or outside of those documented limits. Furthermore, where documented limitations do not exist, we shall use our professional judgment to decline gifts, loans, services, or hospitality that may appear excessive. Section 3 of the Rules of Conduct for Certified GIS Professionals, Obligations to Colleagues and the Profession. 1. We shall not direct nor coerce other professionals to make analysis or reach findings not supported by available evidence. 2. We shall recognize and respect the professional contributions of our employees, employers, professional colleagues, and business associates, and we shall not use the product of others' efforts to seek the professional recognition or claim intended for the producers of the original work. 3. We shall not deliberately nor with reckless indifference misrepresent the qualifications, views, and findings of other professionals, and we shall not engage in slander against our peers. 4. We shall not file a frivolous charge of ethical misconduct against another GIS professional. 5. We shall not retaliate nor threaten retaliation against a person who has filed a charge of ethical misconduct against us or another GIS professional, or who is cooperating in a GISCI Ethics Committee investigation of an ethics complaint. 6. We shall not deliberately or with reckless indifference commit any wrongful act that reflects adversely on our professional fitness, whether or not it is specified in the rules of conduct. Rule 7. We shall honor the intellectual property rights of others, including the rights to software, data, and other relevant information and analysis associated with the work of others. Furthermore, we shall adhere to software and data licensing requirements and the specifics contained in associated licensing agreements. 8. We shall not promote our own interest at the expense of the dignity and integrity of the profession. Rules of Conduct for Certified GIS Professionals, Section 4. Obligations to individuals in society. Rule 1. We shall respect the privacy of individuals and not share information learned in the workplace with friends or others outside that environment. 2. We shall protect individual privacy with secure systems. If those systems are breached, we shall endeavor to notify all those affected. Rule 3. We shall allow people to know whether they are included in a database and to see the information listed about themselves. We shall encourage them to correct any inaccurate information about themselves. We shall allow them to remove their inclusion unless prevented by law or a greater societal good. 4. We shall listen thoughtfully to individual comments and complaints about our work and advocate for changes when appropriate. 5. We shall not use confidential or personal information for personal gain, nor to benefit a third party, except with prior written permission of the individuals or as permissible by law. 6. We shall strive to ensure the accuracy of information about individuals developed or maintained in our databases. If there is a potential for harm to the individual, spurious and questionable data about him or her will be validated, removed, or denoted. That concludes the rules of conduct for certified GIS professionals. The 4 sections are Section 1, obligations to society. Section 2, obligations to employers and funders. Section 3, obligations to colleagues and the profession. And Section 4, obligations to individuals in society. The URISA Code of Ethics. The URISA Code of Ethics consists of 4 primary categories. 1. Obligations to society. 2. Obligations to employers and funders. 3. Obligations to colleagues and the profession. 4. Obligations to individuals and societies. Section 1. Obligations to society. The GIS professional recognizes the impact of his or her work on society as a whole, on subgroups of society, including geographic or demographic minorities, on future generations, and inclusive of social, economic, environmental, or technical fields of endeavor. Obligations to society shall be paramount when there is conflict with other obligations. Therefore, the GIS professional will 1. Do the best work possible, which includes be objective, use due care, and make full use of education and skills. Practice integrity and not be unduly swayed by the demands of others. Provide full, clear, and accurate information. Be aware of consequences, good and bad. Strive to do what is right, not just what is legal. 2. Contribute to the community to the extent possible, feasible, and advisable. This includes make data and findings widely available, strive for broad citizen involvement in public definition, data identification, analysis, and decision-making, and donate services to the community. 3. Speak out about issues. Call attention to emerging public issues and identify appropriate responses based on personal expertise. Call attention to the unprofessional work of others. First, take concerns to those persons. If satisfaction is not gained and the problems warrant, then additional people and organizations should be notified. Admit when a mistake has been made and make corrections where possible. Section 1, obligations to society, includes doing the best work possible, contributing to the community to the extent possible, feasible, and advisable, and speaking out about issues. Section 2, obligations to employers and funders. The GIS professional recognizes that he or she has been hired to deliver needed products and services. The employer or funder expects quality work and professional conduct. Therefore, the GIS professional will 1. Deliver quality work. 2. Have a professional relationship. 3. Be honest in representations. Delivering quality work includes being qualified for the tasks accepted, keeping current in the field through readings and professional development, identifying risks and the potential means to reduce them, defining alternative strategies to reach employer-funder goals, if possible, and the implications of each, documenting work so that others can use it. This includes metadata and program documentation. Having a professional relationship includes holding information confidential unless authorized to release it, avoiding all conflicts of interest with clients and employers if possible, but when they are unavoidable, disclose that conflict, avoid soliciting, accepting, or offering any gratuity or inappropriate benefit connected to a potential or existing business or working relationship, accepting work reviews as a means to improve performance, honoring contracts and assigning responsibilities, accepting decisions of employers and clients unless they are illegal or unethical, helping develop security, backup, retention, recovery, and disposal rules, acknowledging and accepting rules about the personal use of employer resources. This includes computers, data, telecommunication equipment, and other resources, and striving to resolve differences. Being honest in representations includes stating professional qualifications truthfully, making honest proposals that allow the work to be completed for the resources requested, delivering an hour's work for an hour's pay, describing products and services fully, being forthcoming about any limitations of data, software, assumptions, models, methods, and analysis. URISA's Code of Ethics, Section 3, Obligations to Colleagues and the Profession. The GIS professional recognizes the value of being part of a community with other professionals. Together, we support each other and add to the stature of the field. Therefore, the GIS professional will 1. Respect the work of others. 2. Contribute to the discipline to the extent possible. Respecting the work of others includes citing the work of others whenever possible and appropriate, honoring the intellectual property rights of others. These include their rights in software and data, accepting and providing fair critical comments on professional work, recognizing the limitations of one's own knowledge and skills, and recognizing and using these skills of other professionals as needed. This includes both those in other disciplines and GIS professionals with deeper skills in critical sub-areas of the field, working respectively and capably with others in GIS and other disciplines, respecting existing working relationships between others, including employer-employee and contractor-client relationships, dealing honestly and fairly with prospective employees, contractors, and vendors. Contributing to the discipline to the extent possible includes publishing results so others can learn about them, volunteering time to professional education and organizational efforts, local, national, or global, supporting individual colleagues in their professional development. Special attention should be given to unrepresented groups whose diverse backgrounds will add to the strength of the profession. URISA's GIS Code of Ethics, Section 4, Obligations to Individuals in Society. The GIS professional recognizes the impact of his or her work on professional people and will strive to avoid harm to them. Therefore, the GIS professional will 1. Respect privacy. 2. Respect individuals. Respecting privacy includes protecting individual privacy, especially about sensitive information, being especially careful with new information discovered about an individual through GIS-based manipulations such as geocoding or the combination of 2 or more databases. Respecting individuals includes encouraging individual autonomy. For example, allowing individuals to withhold consent from being added to a database, correcting information about themselves in a database, and removing themselves from a database. Avoiding undue intrusions into the lives of individuals, being truthful when disclosing information about an individual. Treating all individuals equally without regard to race, gender, or other personal characteristics not related to the task at hand. The URISA GIS Code of Ethics includes 4 primary categories. 1. Obligations to society. 2. Obligations to employers and funders. 3. Obligations to colleagues and the profession. 4. Obligations to individuals in society. Obligations to society includes doing the best work possible, contributing to the community to the extent possible, feasible, and advisable, and speaking out about issues. Obligations to employers and funders include delivering quality work, having a professional relationship, being honest in representations. Obligations to colleagues and the profession include respecting the work of others and contributing to the discipline to the extent possible. Section 4, Obligations to individuals in society includes respecting privacy and respecting individuals. GISP Unofficial Study Guide, Section 1003. Knowledge of managing, documenting, and communicating GIS work. There is a significant amount of GIS data being created and modified on a constant basis. Following procedures to manage, document, and communicate this work is extremely important. Section 1004. Awareness of how GIS is used across other professions. GIS skills and jobs are vastly varying between professions, companies, and industries. Read other LinkedIn profiles to get a sense of what skills others have in GIS. Attend conferences and webinars. Join a local group and to discuss with other GIS professionals what tools they use and what kind of work they perform. Read blogs and social networking. Section 1005. Awareness of GIS-related professional organizations and certification. For individuals in the United States, here are a few professional organizations: URISA, GISCI, and the American Association of Geographers, AAG. There are many types of professional GIS certifications outside of academic GIS certifications. The GIS Certification Institute, GISCI, oversees the GIS Professional GISP certification. GISCI receives its authority to administer the GISP certification program from the following 5 GIS organizations: the Association of American Geographers, AAG, the National States Geographic Information Council, NSGIC, the University Consortium of Geographic Information Science, UCGIS, the Urban and Regional Information Systems Association, URISA, and the Geospatial Information and Technology Association, GITA. These 5 organizations are the members of GISCI. The board of directors is comprised of 10 people, 2 representatives from each organization, whom govern the GISCI.